Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi, viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. in Douala. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Major Starries. Repression of the press and high cost of living across American countries. Today, journalists in Senegal are observing a media blackout day. No newspaper publications, no TV or radio stations on air. The journalists are joining Senegalese to decry poor living conditions as well as media repression in that country. We take you to Senegal in this news edition. And back to Cameroon, some alleged criminals specialized in profanating graves, steal and sell skeletons have been arrested in Betua in the east region of the country. We tell you more in this news edition. Stay with us for details. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Calls demanding for the release of Steve Akam, also known as Raymond Kota, continue to multiply across the world. The most recent is that of Human Rights Watch, a college of lawyers, and a Cameroonian. They all have tasked the government to show proof that Steve Akam is still alive. Immaculate Fogwe reports on their reactions.
Human Rights Watch is preoccupied over government silence on the whereabouts of Steve Akam, alias Raymond Kota, who was whisked off from Gabon to Cameroon by the Defense and Security Forces. The rights organization is raising concerns about Raymond Kota's health while calling on authorities to confirm the detention and location of Raymond Kota. According to Human Rights Watch, government continues crackdown on opposition, jailing political activists and journalists is unfounded. In the same vein, a Cameroonian, Webasi Pierre Raoult, in a letter addressed to the divisional officer for Sang Melima, demands that he be granted permission to carry out a peaceful demonstration to denounce what he terms as illegal arrest of Raymond Kota. He plans protesting every Thursday from 9 a.m. to midday.
Car j'ai moi-même été victime de la barbarie.
I was once a victim of barbarism orchestrated by the regime. Due to my political convictions, I spent 2 days in jail, so I understand what Steve Akam is going through. I just want to offer help in my little way. Steve Akam needs our help. We know what happened to Samuel Wazizi and Martinez Zogo. We don't want such sins to repeat itself again.
Nous n'aimerons pas que ce qui leur est arrivé arrive aussi à Steve Akam, alias Raymond Kota.
In the same vein, a group of lawyers handling the case of Raymond Kota are demanding that they be given access to their client who has been in detention for several weeks. The lawyers are questioning if Raymond Kota is alive. If yes, what is the state of his mental health? Why is he kept? Why was he arrested? And finally, why is he kept incommunicado? The lawyers say Raymond Kota is a victim of enforced disappearance.
Meantime, 2 gangs of suspected human bone traffickers have been dismantled by security forces of the East Regional Judicial Police Unit. According to investigations, the suspects had as modus operandi the desecration of graves and sale of human bones. Security forces also say human bone trafficking has gained grounds in international market. Lucy Diengu is here. Has more in the report that comes up next.
These are 2 gangs of alleged bandits specialized in the desecration of graves and trafficking of human bones. They were arrested following investigations launched by officials of the Judicial Police Unit's East Region. At the time of their arrest, they had in possession 3 human skeletons, one of which belonged to a 3-year-old child. Security forces say the human skeletons are from Nigeria.
Le nommé Aline Gaga Alim Gauga, as he's called, is the head of the gang of traffickers involved in the desecration of graves and sale of human bones. He is the one who gave the bags to Sanda Umaru and Gidadu for it to be sold. He also told us that the skeleton in question are from Nigeria.
In the course of investigations, the suspects were apprehended in Bafoussam in the West region, Bankim in the Damawa region, and Betwa in the East region. Among the alleged human bone traffickers is an old man, aged 81, and a woman still on the run.
They have a crime group even at the international level, but again, it is the first time women are cited as main actors in such criminal acts.
The head of the East Regional Judicial Police Unit has encouraged the population to report such cases and collaborate with security forces.
We call on the population to reinforce their collaboration with security forces by denouncing every illegal activity from men of the underworld, so that we will be able to dismantle criminal groups.
Meantime, investigations continue. The suspects are in custody, and in the days ahead, they will be presented to competent authorities for the law to take its course.
And empowering the girl child in the conflict-stricken Northwest and Southwest regions has been one of the priorities of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the promotion of the family. Alongside other stakeholders in Bamenda recently, several girl children acquired skills to help them alleviate poverty in the society. Boo Stella tells us more from Bamenda.
The Anglophone crisis has had a devastating impact on the lives of women and girls, leaving many displaced, widowed and orphaned. They face a multitude of challenges, including poverty, lack of access to health care, education and protection from violence.
Before this project one come, I don't drop out school for long. I don't even know me how to write my name. I don't really fall.
A new programming center is addressing the pressing needs of women and adolescent girls through a comprehensive approach.
The trainees have acquired entrepreneurial skills. They are able to identify opportunities around their community, turn these opportunities into businesses. They have acquired management skills, financial literacy, which has to do with savings, loans and investment. The
beneficiaries of this project expressed their gratitude.
They have taught me how to calculate my cost per unit, taught me how to do my BMCs, and more so, they have taught me how to set the prices of my goods.
As the crisis continues, the need for support remains critical. Local authorities are calling on other organizations to join forces in addressing the plight of women and girls in the subdivision.
The training that is taking place permit our children, our ladies, to be an autonomous financially, and they permit to help various families to face to the life.
According to officials of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, such an initiative will go a long way to strengthen the local population who have been struggling with the adverse effects of the nearly 8 years armed conflict.
Now let's talk about this group of people who are considered left-handers, as today is being dedicated to them. 10 to 15% of Cameroonians are left-handed people, considered as a minority in the society somehow. Being a left-hander is, for some, a curse. Our reporter Cedric Chakuto met with some experts who give explanations on this phenomenon.
13th of August, the International Left-Handers Day is a day dedicated to raising awareness of the difficulties encountered by left-handed people in a predominantly right-handed world. This special species of individual represents 10 to 15% of the population in Cameroon. They are generally defined by their writing hand, but can also be left-handed in their foot, eye, or ear.
When a child is already using the left hand, it's a lefter. we allow the child to write with the left. It is not handicap. It is a nature.
Children are being born like that naturally. Some are being born to be using their left hands to write. Some use the right hand to write. So I know that it is natural. Some of them, even to write, there are some letters in the alphabet that they face difficulties in writing, like letter P.
The difference between left-handed and right-handed people, according to doctors, is played out in the brain with laterality that makes one limb prefer another.
Ce qu'il faut dire, c'est que on ne maîtrise pas vraiment ce qui est à l'origine de cela. C'est un phénomène purement aléatoire. Donc, ça peut arriver, enfin, on ne sait pas pourquoi. Et donc, on a 90% de la population.
The doctor says that it is generally considered that we are left-handed when we use our left hand or right hand. There are actually several ways to be left-handed, but this is decided in the brain before we reach 5 years. The risks of change in the choice of hands are enormous, according to some experts.
I had an experience with a child that was in class 2. That child was born to be writing with the left hand. So along the line, the parents were like, no, we don't want our child to be using the left hand side, the left hand to write. So what happened was that the parent now tried to change the child to be using the right hand side. So the child could not. So the parent was forced to tie something on the left hand side of the child that the parents tied was not more working again. So even the right hand side that they wanted the child to be using, the child could not use it again. You see that all the hands now were weak because the child was now trying to develop some skills with the right hand side, which could not go. So the child now was totally weak and could not do anything. He was very slow in writing in class.
Studies have flourished in recent years to restore the image of left-handed and value their differences. One of their qualities is a sense of adaptation developed by evolving in a world where scissors and can openers are designed for right-handers. Left-handers are said to be more creative and better at sport, and thanks to more connections between the two cerebral hemispheres, they are said to be better speakers.
Now let's talk about media repression and high cost of living in some countries across Africa. To Senegal, Senegalese Council of Press Distributors and Publishers say they are standing up for the preservation of the press and industry as the industry is going through the darkest chapter of its history in that country. This reaction force within the media blackouts Tuesday declared across Senegal today. They accused Senegalese authorities of attempting to kill the media industry. For me, Armstrong Sander now takes us to Senegal.
Senegal's news organizations who called for the national media blackout say it is in protest against threat to press freedom and pressure faced by the industry. Lisa Faye, member of the Senegalese Council of Press Distributors and Publishers, SIDEP, which is championing the blackout, complains that authorities are freezing the bank accounts of media companies for the non-payment of tax.
Des paiements et la résiliation unilateral and abusive.
They are also against the seizure of production equipment, the unilateral and illegal termination of advertising contracts, and the freezing of payment dues to the media, he says.
Sans compter aussi l'injonction faite.
Away from these worries, other opinions within the Senegalese media family hold that the press is in danger with the Faye Sonko regime.
L'objectif, c'est de détruire la presse sénégalaise.
One of them being Mohamed Ali Mouba of the RFM Media Group in Dakar, Senegal. They judged the comments recently made by Senegal's new Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko as threatening to the profession.
Et je vous dis que ça n'est fini la liberté d'expression au Sénégal.
Sonko, who took part in June, denounced what he called misappropriation of public funds in the sector, alleging some media chiefs were failing to pay social security contributions. In another outing in June, Sonko slammed news outlets who he said were writing whatever they wished without reliable sources in the name of press freedom. Senegal's media syndicate, SIDEP, says the freedom of the press in Senegal is threatened, warning of one of the darkest chapters in the history of the industry.
And that does it for the first part. The news talking points comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Today or tonight we will be talking about school resumption. Classes resume for the new academic year 2024-2025. That would be on September 9. And there are still fears of insecurity in the northwest and southwest regions ahead of back to school. Our guest tonight is a teacher. He is a regular guest. He is Sama Abamungwa. Thank you so much, sir, once again for accepting to talk to us on Talking Point. Now you are a teacher based in the conflict-stricken northwest and southwest regions, so to speak. You are presently in Kumba. The crisis is now an armed conflict. Pupils and students have fled. Most schools deserted already, especially in interior of some parts of the regions. Resumption of classes for next academic year. Presently, you are in Kumba, like I earlier indicated, but you're based in Buea. Can you say it's safe enough for schools to resume come September 9?
Good evening, Anna. Good evening to you on Equinoxe and to your millions of viewers across the world. Yes, as you said, I am in Kumba presently on a rare visit. We are happy with the outing of the minister. It is a sign of realism. It is a sign of better days, and it's a sign of the fact that people have started coming to reality, coming to terms with reality, admitting the fact that there is a serious situation on the ground, and a situation that does not depend on teachers, and that does not depend on the learners either. I am happy with the fact that it came from the highest authority in the secondary school education system to which I belong. I am just glad that it is coming at the start of another academic year, where teachers who more than not have been placed in a trap and have seen themselves as an endangered species will now have a breath of relief.
You are already coming to it on the minister's outing. Let's talk more about that, Mr. Sama. I mentioned that most teachers, especially in villages, have deserted their posts of responsibility, leaving them vacant. Recently, on national television, the Minister for Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Liyonga, called on teachers not to vacate their positions, but indicates to the powers concerned, so the concerned teachers who feel unsafe can be transferred to safe areas. How feasible or practical can that option be, according to you as a teacher?
To me, by my assessment, Anna, this is the best option that the minister has realistically taken. I can only doff my hat to the minister. I can only appreciate and congratulate the minister for being realistic on a situation, on an issue where a majority of her colleagues and her mates within the system have up to now opted to play pretense and hypocrisy. Anna, it is not news to anybody that the rural areas and some semi-urban areas in the northwest and the southwest are practically unsafe, are practically uninhabitable, especially for teachers and to a larger extent to public servants. And as we speak, of the over 20 schools in Batibo subdivision, my subdivision of origin, none have been functional since 2016. As I speak, in the other 4 subdivisions that make up Momo division together with Batibo subdivision, with the exception of Mbengui, where there is some quasi-normalcy within the past 2 years, there is no schooling in Gi subdivision, in Jikwa subdivision, in Widikum subdivision, and in Batibo subdivision. And it is the same situation in Bui division. It is a similar situation, I must say, in Boyo division. It is a similar situation in Menchum. It is a similar situation in Dian division. It is a similar situation, and to be honest, in a larger part of Fako division. From Moyoka climbing up to Ikata, to Bavia Moyoka, to Munyenge, right down to the Bomboko zones. there is little or no semblance of public education. Whatever exists is just a semblance of what they call community schooling or lay private or confessional schools. Public schools do not exist. And the teacher over these years, over the past 6 years, has become everybody's target. And I'm just happy that the minister for once have been able to take the bull by the horns to tell her collaborators and her colleagues in the other ministerial sectors that I don't want my teacher to be slaughtered any longer, because the solution is not on the doorsteps of the teachers.
My next question, Mr. Sama, as a teacher, is just straight and direct. What becomes of the school or children, be they students or pupils, the transferred teachers who leave behind?
It is a human instinct to preserve yourself, to preserve your life, and teach where and when you think your life is not at risk. Teachers have been killed, students have been killed because of this. But why I am surprised is, why is the head of the teachers everybody's pepper stone? If you go to Batibot, my subdivision of origin, there is no public service sector that is functional except the office of the GO, who is well protected, and the security forces. There is no element of the judiciary in Batibot. Go to the entire in the entire Northwest. All the municipal administrators and the councils have relocated. What about Young Division? What about mine? What about Aquia? So the teacher's head should not be used as everybody's instrument. No, it is a war that we didn't start, and it is a war whose success or failure does not depend on us.
Before now, Mr. Sama, when some kids were killed in cold blood, that was in Kumba, other students were humiliated in Limbe, some others have also lost their lives in the Northwest region. The government promised making use of men in uniform to guard schools in the Northwest and Southwest. What, according to you, is the obstacle to that initiative?
And it is sheer administrative dishonesty and pretense for the government to think that it can provide security at the doorsteps of every school across the Northwest and the Southwest. It is an impossibility. And even if they were to do, which I still say is an impossibility, we have seen cases where teachers, after sneaking out and performing their services, have been pulled from their homes and slaughtered. We have seen cases where teachers have been killed on their way to school or on their way back from school. We have seen cases where children have been molested and tortured because they studied. Even their parents have not been spared of this menace. And so it is impossible for the government to give us the false impression that it can provide optimum security, even relative security in school compounds in the Northwest and the Southwest. It is impossible. And so what we think the government should do is to acknowledge the fact that practically the solution to this problem is not at the doorstep of the teacher. And may I say, no teacher's life is worth the education of a child. The blood of no teacher is worth to be sacrificed because we think that children have a human right to study. The right to life is superior to the right to education. And I'm not sure any parent in the Northwest and the Southwest would accept to put the life of their children at risk because they are supposed to study. And that is why I think the minister has recognized, has belatedly realized the fact that the compulsion instrument which they had used all along is not workable, but it is rather endangering the lives of students, the teachers, and the parents, and the communities.
Thank you, Mr. Sama, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Just to mention once again that you are a teacher at the Government Bilingual High School in Moliko, Buea. You're based in Buea, but you're presently in Kumba. Thank you again for accepting our invitation. And viewers, thank you so much for always being there. Our programs continue this evening. Equinoxe in about 30 minutes live from Yaoundé, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television.